Good morning, everyone. My name is Zach Hewells, and I'm here at the NAIFA National Staff Office. Today, we have a great speaker lined up for you for the fourth session of our March Advisor Ambassador Program. This is our final session. If you need to catch up on any of the previous sessions, feel free to reach out to us at recruitment@naifa.org. I'm joined here today by Rodney Mogen, and he is presenting Optimize Your Time and Cash Flow. So Rodney, if you would like to go ahead and get started, if anyone has any questions, feel free to type them in the chat box below, and I will make sure to share them at the end of the presentation. So without further ado, Rodney, go ahead.
Zach, thank you so much for a great introduction. What you may not know is Zach's actually on his honeymoon on talking this. No, I was kidding. He just got married last week. So he skipped the honeymoon just so he could be here for us. So I really do appreciate it. As Zach mentioned, my name is Rodney Mogen, and I'm the president of Solve Your Puzzles. I work with advisors in helping them build and grow their practices. So I'm very excited to talk about time management and budgeting cash flow. So really happy for that. Before we go forward, I tend to be a little bit more rigid when it comes to time management. I tend to be a little bit more rule-oriented. So understand that there's going to be some rules I'm going to go through, and there's going to be some more rigidity to this. But because I'm also on the autistic spectrum, I tend to be more rigid. So I also understand that not everyone's going to fit in rigidity-wise with some of the things I'm going to talk about. But my goal today is for you to walk away with 1, 2, or 3 things that you can add in and be able to move on to the next level and make your calendar and make your business even better. If you were on the call last week, my good friend Corey Anderson talked about vision, and he talked about finding your niche, of really being a good, strong playmaker. And we're going to be talking about some of those concepts today as well, because they go into really managing your time and also managing your cash flow, because you need to know what your strengths and weaknesses are. You also need to have a vision so that everything goes together. So we'll be talking about that. In addition, like I said, I have a ASD, which is the autistic spectrum disorder, but I also have ADD and dyslexia. So a lot of the stuff that I'm going to be talking about today are things that I have borrowed, stolen, copied from many, many people at NAIFA. And that's one of the great things I think about the NAIFA organization is I travel around and speak 200 times a year at different NAIFA organizations. I learn something new every single organization I go to, every single place I go to, and I'm able to incorporate it into my practice and really look at how I can better myself. So hopefully you'll be able to do that with what we're going to talk about today. I started off as a financial advisor. I also was a sales manager for a while, and then in 2012 opened up my own business, seeing that there was a real need for advisors needing support with how to run their practice, not from a sales manager perspective, but really how to really run their practice and grow and develop and build, and then also how to add insurance into it as well. I know that sounds weird. Here's an insurance guy talking to financial advisors. They don't know about insurance. A lot of them don't know how to incorporate all of it together in the right ways and do advanced strategies. So that's why I'm here today, is because I deal with over 400 brokers across about 40-state region. And one of the things that I have to do is I have to have a strong calendar, and I have to have good time management. But because I travel a lot, I have to know how to budget my cash flow and be able to grow and be able to manage as there's variations in business. The other thing we're going to talk about today is your strengths and your weaknesses. We'll go over some real specific time management techniques and some rules of how we go forward. And then we'll talk more in detail about managing your cash flow. Hopefully you can see on the screen, this is my little where I track everything, and this is my little pie of where I spend my time. For me, my strength is working with people. It's working with advisors. It's really growing their practices. And so I try to spend my time, the majority of my time, in doing things that are going to make me money and lead to making me money, but also lead to making my clients money as well. And so that's where I spend time on appointments held, appointment setting, casework, obviously incoming calls, and then prospecting. As you can see, I have other areas in there: calling, talking to wholesalers, networking, conference calls. Brokers are my check into all my different clients, so that's the service work, admin, and then also, bringing on new people. So those are the different things that I look at with my calendar. Is all my calendar is focused on where do I make the most efficiencies, and where do I get the most rewards from. And so I've designed my calendar, and I've designed all my time management techniques based around that, so that I don't get bogged down in tasks that are not going to lead me to the next level. Okay. So this is what brings me to the first rule that I believe in, which is managing your calendar. Just too often to me, if you go back to the last slide, you see that I actually spend a lot of my time setting appointments. Too often to me, I see a lot of advisors who, when they hire an assistant, when they are a year or 2 years into the practice, they actually give away the appointment setting. I don't believe in that. I believe in managing your calendar, controlling it, really working with it, and kind of being like a pilot on a plane. In fact, I actually just, due to some cancellations and some issues with Southwest, I actually just got off a flight this morning. I was supposed to be back last night and ended up getting up. So I was thinking about this, and the captain or the pilot has full control of that aircraft. He or she may delegate different pieces of that aircraft as it's flying, because they can't be everywhere at any one time, but they still have full control and they have full say of what's going on. So that's where I believe with managing your calendar, you should own it. Doesn't mean you are the one setting all the appointments, but you should be doing a lot of appointment setting. Or like what I use is I have a little tool called Calendly, that's CALENDLY.com, that I have tied to my calendar. I have links on my email, I have links on my website, and I have links on my social media. When I respond to people on LinkedIn, I put a little link. It's actually a really nice little tool, and it will actually, people can set appointments. I still set appointments, and I count them as appointment setting. However, half my calendar is filled up every single week by someone actually clicking on the link and setting the appointment for me. What I do when I say manage your calendar is I really make sure all the different blocks of my calendar fit each week, and I know where it's at. So there's some work on that. I don't believe in giving that piece up. The other key thing is you want to block important times out of your calendar. I do actually have a to-do list book that I carry around with me at all the times. And what I do on Fridays in the afternoon is I write down all my to-do list items that I know of for the next week. And then each day as things pop up, I'll put additional to-do list items on there. But I block out times in my calendar that if it's going to take me more than 2 hours more than 15 minutes, I'll block out an hour or 2 hours so that we can actually I can get those things done. If they're quick items, I don't block them out of my calendar, but then that way, that's an appointment for me that I really am following, and I can't get distracted by other people. That's the other thing is, if I do have one of those appointments, that's one of my to-do appointments, I turn off my phone. I turn off my email because I'm focused on getting that particular set of items done. So you really need to do that. And then you communicate to your calendar to your stakeholders. One of your biggest stakeholders is your family, probably. They're going to be a bigger drain of your time. And it could be a positive drain, it could be a negative drain. But you need to make sure they know what you're doing, because you're trying to get it back to the vision, and you're trying to get that back to everything going forward. All right. So the next thing you want to do is you want to create a workable structure, and you have to tie this back to your vision. And this is one of the things that I think NAIFA has really helped me with. Is I am a big picture guy, but I think very linearly. And not analytically, but very linearly. And I just look straight line, and I just know I want to be successful, and I want to do this, this, and this. But that's not necessarily a true vision. So by networking and talking with a lot of different advisors and a lot of different wholesalers, different people at different NAIFA events, I've really crafted a really strong vision. And my vision is I want to be the premier problem solver for advisors. But it was through talking to different people and learning what each one does and what they need and what they don't need. So from an advisor perspective, if you're going to NAIFA and an insurance agent, you can really figure out what a niche could be for you. And that's what I know my buddy Corey was talking about last week. And so that's, I think, an advantage of being a NAIFA member is you have that, that ability to go there. You do need to understand what your weekly tasks are. And this is what I was talking about with, quick items, I get done right away. Long items, I actually schedule time in my calendar. Leadership in Life Institute. This is a NAIFA program to help develop young leaders or new leaders in the organization and in the insurance industry. One of the biggest concepts that they talk about is Covey's concept of the boulders, the pebbles, the sand, and the water. You'll see in a little bit, I have a model week that I use, kind of a Covey concept, and I have certain blocks in there, and there's personal workouts, there's family time, there's different things that are blocked into it. There's also appointment times, but then I fill everything else in on Friday afternoon for the next week so that, whatever needs to get done gets done. You do need to have a balance. For me, because of my ADD, because of my ASD, I really do need to be able to do things in short spurts. And so one of the things that I look at, and one of the things I really focus on is, you'll see in my calendar, I might have a block of time for appointments that's 3 hours long. Well, if I'm going from appointment to appointment to appointment, that works. If I cannot do one appointment for 3 hours, I lose all focus. So I might have blocks of time in there to work on certain things, but I'm doing 3 or 4 different things within there. So you'll see some of my blocks of time have 3, 4, 5 different things in there because I need to be able to jump from different areas to keep focus on those different things. But you do need to understand how that works for you and how you need to adjust. Some people can block out 2 hours and get and need those 2 hours to get one thing done. I need 2 hours to get maybe 5 or 6 things done because if I spend 2 hours on one thing, it would never get done. And then you just need to understand where everything is at. You need to assess it. You need to look at things on a regular basis. And lastly, you also need to ask for help. This is where your team might come in. This is where other people that you work with might, asking your family to help with different things. So again, part of having good time management is having very efficient and effective communication. One little tip and one little rule that I always believe in is control your times AMAP, which is as much as possible. And one of the things I do for every meeting that I do, if you notice, I even did it on this one, go back a couple slides, I have an agenda. I always set up an agenda. I always talk about it when I'm meeting with my clients. My agenda actually does have time on it, how much time I'm going to spend in each area. If you're with a client, you're talking about their financial future, you might not put 10 minutes on financial future. You might put 10 to 30 minutes or put a range, or you might leave that one blank. And the smaller items you spend a little bit, you have specific times on there. I believe that sets the expectation that, hey, this is what we're going to spend on it. That's what we're going to spend on it. We might be able to go a little over, a little under. But if if it's just wide open, you never know where people might get bogged down. I also set expectations for my time with the people I work with. One of the biggest ones I have is emails. I hate emails. I know. I'm 42. I'm right there, just past the millennial generation. Just at the end of the Generation X. But I hate emails. I don't understand the purpose of them. I don't like them. So what I tell my clients and what I tell everyone is I check emails once a day, maybe twice a day. I check them at lunch, and then I generally check them maybe at the end of the day. I don't check them in the morning. I don't do any of that stuff because I believe I need to be efficient and effective. And so when I'm checking emails, I'm going to check them when I am, resting my brain and I need to do something differently. And that's where I look at email being that way. Phone calls, I always tell people if you need to get a hold of me, the phone call is the easiest way, and then text, and then, like I said, email after that. But you need to communicate this and set those standards with your clients and with the other people that control, are asking for time from your calendar. Strengths and weaknesses. As you build your calendar, as you work on your time management, this is really key to understand. You need to understand what your strengths and weaknesses are. I like a tool called Strength Finder 2.0. It's actually a book, fairly inexpensive. But at the same time, at the end, once you read the book, or even before you read the book, they give you a free assessment test you can take. But you have to buy the book to get the code. And for me, I have some really strong. good strengths, but because of some of the ASD and the ADD, I'm a little bit more of an individual with certain things. I have to be more in control. I have a little bit more individualistic. I like some of the different things on there. But other people might be more woo, or they might be more team building and different things like that. So what I look at is one of my strengths is going out there, hunting and killing business and doing those different things and executing on the plan. I work with people that are really good at the service work. They're really good at building the relationship. So I start the relationship. I actually have people I work with that help continue it and build it even further. So, as a financial advisor, you kind of have to do both, right, when you first start out. But you might have someone that is really good at the planning piece, or they might be really good at doing certain things. So and that's really one of the things that NAIFA has found in the Advisor 2020 study that they did, is that people are teaming up more and more. And so this might be a way for you to not only control your time, but also be able to maximize your practice and maximize your efficiency. So you need to understand what your strengths are, but then also delegate your weaknesses to other areas, or block out times where like I said, email, I don't like email. The main reason why I don't like email is because it's about some of that relationship. It's about some of those different things. I have to listen and look at it. So I always put blocks of time in my calendar for that, because it drains me when I do it. So I'm more energized doing things like this. So I put more time, like things like this, and then right after this presentation, I'm going to be checking my email. So I'm on a high right now. I'll use email to relax and move on to the next step, and then I'll be ready to recharge. That'll help me recharge and go back to seeing more people. So as I said, some of my strengths, I'm an achiever. I have strong beliefs, strong vision, deliberative. I'm very competitive, and I'm very command-oriented. I chose a picture of a swimming pool here because I am a swimmer. I'm 7'1". I did play college basketball. I also did water polo, and I did swimming. And one of the biggest things with that is my favorite sport is swimming. And main reason being is I did long-distance swimming, so I had blocks of time where I was just in my head. I like doing that. But then I also like the team sports because I was really good, but I was able to work on building together. And that's one of the advantages I find of networking and working with different NAIFA groups across the country is I never know what I'm going to walk into. I never know what questions I'm going to get. That's why I'm excited to talk about today and talk to you guys today. So one of the things I find is it's a great way to challenge yourself. If you are an individual going into a NAIFA group, you actually do challenge yourself because you need to talk to people. If you are a really great networker, well, you might find a great team member. So I think there's a lot of different opportunities to do that. As you can see, some of my weaknesses: adaptability, connectedness, empathy, harmony, and includer. These are all categories in the Strengths Finder. I highly encourage you to go get that book and read it. It's a quick read, but it makes a lot of sense. I kind of went over this slide already, but for me, my communication rules, and every new client I work with, I do hand them out my communication rules, and I hand them out access to my calendar. So they can book an appointment at any time they want with those links that I talked about. And my communication rules are: phone is for urgent or important. If it's something they need today, don't email me because I'm probably not going to get to it. Text, if you are going to email me because it's an easier way for you to communicate, text me or call me and say, check your email. And I have a lot of clients that have learned that, yes, if I need something from Rodney in the next couple hours, because he checks his email from 12 to 1 and maybe at 5 or 6, I'm going to call him and get it from him. Text to me or quick communication, they're really out there. And when I say I hate email, it means I hate email for regular communication. I do like email for using it as a summary. It's great mass communication. Every week, I do write summary letters for every client meeting that I held. I like that because it's just really clear and concise way to communicate. But it's a great way for everyone to have the documentation that we need in our industry, but also, so that there's no misunderstanding in the communication. So email is great for, a review of a communication, a review of how things go. But to me, for having a conversation on email, to me, it's inefficient. That's why I do like the ability to book your appointments through Calendly or there's many other software types out there. I love being able to let people know that if you need to get a hold of me, call, and let's move on from there. So here is the calendar I talked about. As you can see, in the morning at Central Time, I start my day walking my dogs, or I might be doing some different things because I do travel a lot. So Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I'm generally traveling. So Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I might walk outside the hotel, or depending on the weather. I was in Cincinnati, Ohio, the last 3 days, and it was 18 degrees in the morning. So I wasn't walking outside the hotel, but I walked on the treadmill, and then I also do a stationary bike or elliptical, depending on what's available. So I get my workout in the morning. That gets my brain going. I then spend an hour every day reading the paper, whether it's online, but I prefer the actual, get your fingers dirty paper, because it gets me away from technology. It gets me, a lot of the stuff might be stuff I already know, but it gets me thinking about different things. I also read different product materials, all different things. It's more of a sharpen the saw. Then, as you can see, I force myself to do networking throughout the week. I have appointments. I have times for case reviews, swimming, weights, all those different things are in my calendar. As you can see, my Thursday is fairly open. That is a day where usually on Tuesdays I'm in San Antonio. Wednesdays I'm usually in Austin seeing appointments. Thursday is generally a day where I'm either on a plane Wednesday night, staying overnight, or I'm flying out early Thursday, flying back late Thursday, or sometimes I'm just at my office. So that's kind of that flex time I put in my calendar. And so it's always going to depend week to week to week. As you can see, my Tuesdays and Wednesdays are pretty packed for appointments. I generally see 7 to 8 people each of those days. I'm generally averaging anywhere from 15 to 20 people physically seen face to face. And then I do another 10 to 15 either on phone or WebEx. So I do have a busy calendar. I put things in there, but the beauty is you can adjust your calendar each week of how you want it. So real quick on time management, just a quick overview and summary. Know your calendar. Really prep ahead of time and have some agendas so that there's clear communication of what you're going to be doing. Communicate with all your stakeholders, communicate with your clients, your family. Do reviews of your calendar. Make sure it's working. Make sure it's fitting. And then have a flexibility and structure. To me, I think that's funny that I'm saying that because I am pretty rigid. My wife will tell you too that, I really don't like to have variations in my calendar. I don't like it when I ask, what are we doing today on a Saturday or Sunday? Because that's our rule. She gets to control the weekend. And she's like, I don't know. Those are the 3 words I don't like hearing because I like to know what we're going to do that day. But, again, it's that communication. It's that give and take. It's moving those things together. Let's talk about budgeting. When you grow your business, you have to know how to invest in it, but you also need to be able to live, right? You have certain expenses. You need to know what your living expenses are, and you need to hit certain goals to hit that. But you also need to be able to hit goals to fund your business and continue to fund it. So I'm going to go back to the calendar here for a second, and you'll see that I have different things on here where, I have appointments. I have some different things. I have networking. I have things built into the calendar, and some of those are going to cost money to do that. But everything there is tied to my overall vision and tied to what I want to accomplish and how I want to move forward. So what I always suggest is that you set out a year-long budget, but then each month you have a tracking system. You look at what you brought in, brought out. I use QuickBooks online. I put all my expenses. I tie it to my bank account. And I look at all the business and I tie all the commissions that I got versus all the expenses I have. And I make a plan for the next month. So you have to have that balance of networking and marketing, but also being able to pay your bills at the same time. I believe in breaking down your goals as well. I know that I need to submit 20 cases a week among all the brokers I work with. I need to bring on 2 new brokers a week to do the fee-based work I do with them, and then have about 4 to 5 cases get paid each week, again, with the brokers that I work with, in order to drive the revenue that I need to do. So I know those numbers by the back of my hand. I know them, by heart. and I review each month, where am I standing? So part of my calendar is I have a standing monthly review, and I go through there. But then I prioritize out, what do I need to do to get those 2 new brokers? What do I need to do to help those brokers get 20 cases submitted? Here in March in Texas, it was spring break, plus it was NCAA first weekend. So I'm nowhere near those numbers. So I've already been looking at it this morning. What do I need to do now to drive those numbers and actually exceed those numbers in April to get back on track? So there's a constant review with that and figuring out where you're at so that you can, and it all ties back to the calendar. So if you have a strong calendar, you're actually going to have a strong budget, and they work hand in hand. You do need to prioritize, map out what is important and how things work together. And then there's different programs, QuickBooks Online, you can use Excel. You do have a lot of different tools that you can do. NAIFA also has some really great resources. If you are a member, you can actually cut down on your shipping they've got some deals with UPS. They've got different deals with different programs, so you can save some money that way too if you're a member. So there's a lot of different opportunities, but the key thing that I really want to highlight is tracking. I do believe you need to track it. You need to understand it. I find that once a month works for me. Some people may need to do it once a week. Some people may need to do it once a quarter, but you got to figure out what works for you and how it's flexible for you. So as I mentioned, there's some different resources, Calendly.com, NAIFA.org. The website is fantastic. There's a lot of resources. There's a lot of opportunities to get discounts on different products and services. There's also, I have a great friend. He's also a client, Charlie Matiaski out of Brenham, Texas. And Charlie uses horse's mouth to market and do seminars, and he gets all his programs through NAIFA. He gets a nice discount through that, and really nice programs. So there's a lot of different opportunities. You can use Expensify, QuickBooks Online, but track, look, review, and really tie it to your vision and tie it to where you want to move forward. So Zach, with that, I'm going to open it up for questions.
All right. Thank you so much, Rodney. That was fantastic. I need a calendar myself that looks color-coded and everything like that. I'm going to have to do that. Does anybody have any questions for Rodney?
I'm not good. No questions? All right.
All right. Well, on that note, I hope everyone has a fantastic Thursday and has a great weekend as well. Feel free to reach out to me at recruitment@naifa.org, and I will answer any questions or pass along any past video classes as well. So hope everyone has a great day. Thanks so much, Rodney.
Thanks, Zach. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
Have a good one, everybody.